Burundi, as I wrote in my thesis or my dissertation, Burundi is like a forgotten country. It's a forgotten country. They forget Burundi. Burundi was part of German East Africa. Tanzania and Burundi and Rwanda were governed, colonized together. In all projects, Burundi is like underrepresented.
Welcome to a new episode of the podcast Decolonial Memories. I am Thomas Fuß. Today I talk to Jean Berchmans Ndihokubwayo, a historian from Burundi. He is presently finishing his doctoral dissertation at the University of Gießen. Dear Jean, thank you very much to share your time with me for a podcast on your work regarding Burundi and the colonial legacies of the former German colony.
Thank you very much.
Let's go to the personal aspects first. Where did you grow up?
So, my name is Jean Berchmans Ndihokubwayo. I am a Burundian. I grew up in Burundi and I am living in Burundi.
And what sort of educational steps did you take in your life?
Yes, I followed the Burundian education system. I studied the primary school there. I followed the high school in Burundi, and I did a bachelor's degree in Burundi. And later, I continued with a master's degree in Turkey, Republic of Turkey. Then I am here in Germany doing my PhD at Gießen University.
And you're a historian
I am
by
a historian.
training.
Yes, my background is history, and I am pursuing a PhD in colonial history.
And you're now linked to the University of Gießen and funded through the German Foreign Academic Exchange, a program funded also by the Foreign Office of Germany. Could you say a little bit about this program?
Yes, my program is funded by DAD and supported also by Foreign Office, German Foreign Office. And I am among other 8 students. We are selected as a PhD candidate from German former colonies, and we are dealing with topics related to our respective countries.
Would this only be the former German colonies in Africa or also other colonies like China or the Pacific?
Yeah, and also other former colonies are included, like Pacific. One of our colleagues is from Pacific. Yeah, yes.
So going back to your childhood and your youth, did people talk about the historical period of German colonialism in your country back then?
Yes, during my childhood, I heard only little things about the German colonial period. Perhaps we'll talk this later. Burundian knows a little bit about the German colonial period, but we have some legacy heritage related to German colonial rules. During my childhood or during primary school or for internship, students are conducted to visit some places related to German colonial rule. So that,
like what places? Can you give examples?
Yes, I can say, for example, the place is called Kiganda. It is an historical seat where Germans and Burundian authorities, the king of Burundi, they signed a treaty at that place, and now it is well preserved. It is it is an historical seat. It is also like a touristic place related to the German colonial rule in Burundi.
So would it be correct to call it like a site of memory where you get information, people can go and familiarize themselves with the German colonial rule?
Of course, it is a memorial seat because even visitors, foreigners coming in Burundi, they visit that place, and there is people who welcome them, who explain what happened step by step. Yes.
Are there similar sites like this in other places of Burundi?
Yes, we have a similar place related to German colonial rule. Instead of that Kiganda Treaty, there is, for example, a Boma that sits related.
A Boma would be a building,
Boma
right? A
building,
German formed government
of
building.
course. There is also another seat where they call, for example, German cemetery. German killed during the First World War in Burundi with Askaris. They were there in Burundi. There is a cemetery still like a memorial seat. Also, there is another seat related to the German militaries while flying ran away against Belgium. There is a city related to that history in Burundi. Yes. They called Fire Donyakazu. Yes.
Going back to your school days, in the school books, was there any memory or information about German colonial rule?
Yes, there is some courses or some thematic related to German colonial rule, but they are not developed as Burundian teachers, Burundian researchers did not before visit the archival files. So all the information we have been combined or has been written by the first historian, helped by French historian called Jean-Pierre Chrétien.
Yes. How about at university, when you went through the bachelor's program, master's program, are there specific courses or ongoing academic research on German colonialism?
Burundi under German colonial rule is quite little researched. We know little things about Burundi under German colonial rule, but at the school there is always a chapter related to German colonial rule. But if you go through the archives, as far as I'm concerned as a researcher, I find some information which are not well transmitted.
So there would be the National Archives of Burundi, from the government
no,
archives?
There's no archives related to that period in Burundi. You need to go abroad in order to access to the archives related to that period. You need to go to visit Bundes archives in Berlin, or you need to go to Dar es Salaam, which was the capital of Dutch West Africa. Yes.
And when people would talk about the German colonial rule, what are the feelings, the sentiments that they would get? What's their emotional situation towards the Germans?
So, about Burundi under German colonial rule, if you are talking about that period, people will come back to that treaty I was telling you before.
The Kitanga.
The treaty of Kiganda. They will tell you that the Germans are bad. They stolen a lot of cattle from our king. Nowadays we may be rich, but they took our the economic stuff from Burundi. Yes.
Turning to your present academic work on the doctoral dissertations, could you please say a little bit about the topic and what are the issues that you're looking at?
So my topic is specific. I'm looking for administrative side. I'm looking for relationship between the local authority and the colonial authority. I'm looking how it is a problematic issue because, for example, if I take that example of Treaty of Kiganda, the German colonial authority who was on the spot in Burundi, he did himself he forced the king to sign the treaty without perhaps the permission of his superior from Dar es Salaam, and the colonial authority Robert von Bering was punished by the governor from Dar es Salaam, and I'm looking for which was the relationship between the colonial authority on sport, the local authority, the colonial authority in Dar es Salaam, and the foreign office in Berlin. That is my field research in my dissertation.
Are there German scholars that are active in this area where you can have an exchange, where they do similar work?
Not totally about Burundi, but yes, there is some writings related to the topic in Burundi, but most of them took Burundi as a small part, not in deep as other former colonies. So I get some information from articles, from book chapter, from other researchers, but there is no much work related to Burundi under German colonial rule until today.
In the next section, we will turn to Burundi. To what extent and in which ways German colonial past is addressed in your country?
Thank you very much.
You mentioned several sites of memory of the German colonial period. What do these sites mean to the, let's call the people or the students of your country, of Burundi?
It means it is a proof. It is a proof of Germans past in Burundi. It is a proof.
And what's the purpose? Do the schools would go there, or why would people go to look at these sites?
It is a kind of remembrance. It is a kind of remembrance. For example, also Germans have a kind of those seats. For example, the German cemetery in Burundi was guarded by the German embassy in Burundi, and they have one day where they met there to remember the Germans killed in Burundi.
So the German embassy, German ambassador would go and participate in these ceremonies?
Yes, they go there alone, and even the guardian of that seat is employed by the German embassy in Burundi.
Ah, so just this one site where German, even today, would pay money to support, to maintain the...
Yes, even today.
Is there a statement at one point by the German ambassador that they would acknowledge the colonial crimes, the violence?
Yes, they will acknowledge it according to the political orientation. Yes, because even that about that cemetery, I one day asked the ambassador who maintained that cemetery, that seat. He told me it is a kind of association in German, which is in charge of all cemetery, former cemetery in German former colonies.
Yes, that's for the German soldiers, right?
Yes.
But this specific site at the cemetery, does it also remember the Africans, the people from Burundi, or is it only the German perpetrators?
Only Germans were there, will remember that. But if you visit that cemetery, there is no only Germans, because sometimes it is written on the cemetery Askari, but Askari from where? Perhaps there is Askari from Burundi. No one don't know. There is no much research about that, so Germans remember themselves, but they forget Burundian who were killed during the, especially during the military expeditions.
What do you know about the colonial loot of cultural belongings taken by the Germans and transferred to Germany, and also the ancestral remains?
Since I have been in Germany, this is my fourth year. I visited several museums in Germany, like 5. I have been also in contact with some museum by phone or by emails. So until now, I know, for example, more than 4,000 items from Burundi held in ethnological Berlin Museum. I know more than 270 items held in München Fifth Continent Museum. So there is a lot of items from Burundi taken by Germans or missionary, and which are now held in a different museum in Berlin.
How did you find out about this information? How did you gather this information?
Through my colleagues at the university or through my supervisor, academic supervisor. Sometimes we go together in the museum. I take a look at some items. Some items are the origin of some items is written there. It is written from Burundi. Also, I have one friend and colleagues who did research about Burundian items which are in the Ethnological Museum in Berlin. He did an inventory of those items. He sent me a list with the origin, who took these items, when, and even pictures of some items. So from that side, I got idea about items from Burundi in the German museum.
But sometimes it may be difficult to identify. Wouldn't the Germans sometimes have just written Ost Africa, East Africa, then you don't know if it's Burundi?
Yes, it is a challenge. That is why I have been invited in a different conference. The last one took place in Freiburg when we discussed that issues. Without provenance research, it is difficult to identify items' origins. As a Burundian, I found some items on which it is written is from Rwanda. But personally, I know that items is from Burundi. But without any research, it is difficult to agree the origin of those items. So it is still problematic, and I would like to invite the parties who are concerned by that to do a provenance research to identify the origin of different items. And about human remains, as researchers about colonialism, I know during the military expedition, there were a lot of people, Burundian, who were killed during the military expeditions. And as a Burundian, I don't know where they are, they are now. If they have been, if their body has been transported in Germany or not. But I contacted some German contact point of human remains. They answered me, we don't know if there is human remains from Burundi until now. There is no proof, there is no idea about that. So it is mandatory to do research, to do provenance research in order to get an idea about human remains or items from Burundi.
You mentioned the conference in Freiburg. Was that with Professor Andreas Mehler?
Yes, yes, of course. Normally, Freiburg, if I am not wrong, is in Baden-Württemberg state.
Baden-Württemberg,
Yes,
yes.
there is a relationship between Burundi and that state. So sometimes they organize conferences. They invite people from Burundi or from other side. During that conference I mentioned earlier, it was about Germany, East Africa, and they invite people, researchers only from Burundi, from Tanzania, and from other sides. We did a conference about different subjects. I presented about Burundian, about restitution and reparation. Uh, yeah, and the other colleagues presented in different subjects.
So that
Yes.
was in the year 2024, I believe, right?
Yes, it was
Yes.
2024.
Okay. Now, you mentioned the cultural belongings from Burundi that are presently held by German museums. Did you contact and talk to people, staff of the museums, about these belongings?
Yes, yes.
Could you give us some example of the conversations that you had there?
Yes, I took. First I wrote an email to the German contact point,
Yes,
and
for the
they
colonial
colonial
collections. Yeah.
collections, and they agreed to talk with by phone. We had a Zoom meeting even if you want. We discussed about human remains. I also contact, for example, I got the opportunity to meet the head of Fünf Continent Museum in München.
Munich,
We
yes.
met in Gießen. My academic supervisor invited him in a conference in which I was there. We introduced each other, and we exchanged some emails, and he confirmed that in the museum there is some 200 and something and 70 items from Burundi, and he also invited me to visit those items. Unfortunately, until now, I'm still busy with my research. I have not been there, but in the coming days, I plan to go there and visit the museum face to face.
You mentioned this formal twinning arrangement between the state of Baden-Württemberg and Burundi. Could you provide some more details? What's happening there? What kind of programs or joint activities?
There they have there is different activities, but I am not involved in that relationship. As a researcher, sometimes if they organize conferences, they invite me as a speaker, and they give me some thematics. I attend the conferences as a speaker, as a researcher, not in that relationship between Baden-Württemberg and the Burundi relationship.
Are you aware of any other, collaborative relationships between, let's say, certain cities or towns in Germany or schools where would have this exchange between Burundi and Germany?
There is through the channel of Baden-Württemberg state.
Baden-Württemberg,
In
yes.
Baden-Württemberg state, there is a relationship in a different domain, in education, and in different domains. And for example, the University of Burundi have some relationship with some university in Germans. Professors from the University of Burundi are sometimes invited to visit a university in Germans, and some students from the University of Burundi are supervised by German researchers in that kind of collaborations.
So in the next section, we will turn to a quite unique formal initiative by Burundi government to approach German government on the issue of acknowledging the historic responsibility and the restitution of the looted cultural belongings.
Oh, thank you very much.
turning to this letter by the Burundi government through the Senate of your country, which was sent to Germany in the year 2020, what were the specific demands, requests, or expectations of the Burundi government as they approached German government?
Back to the issue of colonialism in general, Burundi government through the Senate, they appointed a team of researchers to search for to do a research about the colonial past. And
so there was a commission set up by the government.
It is not an official commission.
Or a group.
It is a group of researchers appointed by the Senate to do a research about the colonial past. I met that team, and I invite from my academic supervisor in Gießen, Professor Dr. Bettina Brockmeyer. We invited that team. They came in Gießen, I think, in 2024. They presented the result of the research. We discussed about that. Apart from that team appointed by the Senate to do a research about colonial past.
Sorry, but this team was appointed before the letter was sent out?
It is before. Before, but
and on the basis of that research, the government wrote this letter to Germany.
Yes, and the Senate also addressed that letter to the German government to show how to deal with the colonial past.
Yes, please go into detail. What exactly did they want to see happening?
What they want to do is first to show to the German government that they colonized Burundi. And they need also moral reparation. In that case, they need discussion, bilateral discussion. They need also, they said reparation. Reparation to the wrongdoing, wrong things they did to Burundian.
Did they give a specific request for reparation, what it should look like?
They didn't be specific, but they said, for example, as a reparation, you can build schools, you can build hospitals. Yes, in the letter you will read, you can build the hospital, you can build school to show that we have been here. And also, you can also contribute to the writings to the writings of colonial chapter in high school books, like that.
Also, what about the cows that were taken, stolen from your king, from the Burundi king? What did they say about the cows?
During different conferences or during formal or informal requests, it is known in Burundi during the Treaty of Kiganda, Germans asked to the king to pay 424 cows, and the government acknowledged that the cows is not only economic things during the pre-colonial Burundi, even until now, it was also symbolic. By taking the cows from Burundi, they distract the heart of Burundi. So they want a reparation going, that is 400, it doesn't mean that 424 cows written in that treaty, they are not only those cattle. As a research, if you go in deep research, you will find each colonial, each military expedition, each punishment, in whatever gesture the Germans did, the fine was about cattle. Normally they are saying that those 424 cattle because it is a proof. It is written in the official document, but it is not only that. Yes.
How about the loot of the looting of the cultural belongings? Is that mentioned in the letter?
Yes, we not only items, also in that letter, there is also a request to repatriate, to restitute even archives. As I started by saying, Burundi, for example, Burundi under German colonial rule is underdocumented. Why? Because it is difficult to find information. Because all of the archives related to that period are kept whether in Dar es Salaam, whether in Germans. So as a Burundian or as a researcher, we need to access to those archives. We need to access to those items because young generation don't know if they forgot even the Burundian culture because we don't have those items. It comes to me even who are growing up to find items in museum, but in order to know its significance, I need to take photo, ask elders, which the whole of these items in during the pre-colonial Burundi. So as a younger generation, they need to know it. They need to know everything about items, about historical things written in the archives.
And the letter would also state that they want the cultural belongings back that were taken during the colonial period.
Yeah.
So this letter was sent to the German government. What happened after that? Do you know if there was any response from the German side?
I got that letter not formally, but during my different conference, during my meeting with German official, for example, I have been in contact with the former Minister of State in German, Berlin, Katja Koy.
Yeah, Foreign Office, of
Yes,
the Foreign Office.
we discussed about, I asked her if they got that letter formally, but she refused. She told me in my files, on my table, I didn't receive that letter. Until now, I'm still confused if the letter has been sent officially, which channels, but there is no answer until now. I know that the government wrote that letter, but the answers, the results of that letter are still unknown to me. And
So in the final section, we will look forward what sort of future steps could be taken to deepen and to intensify collaboration, mutual knowledge between Burundi and Germany.
yes, thank you.
I understand that you're involved in some collaborative work with the German embassy in Burundi.
Yes.
So what kind of activities are happening there?
Yeah. Until now, there is no concrete project which have been done by the German embassy, but last year I have been invited to present during an internal workshop the embassy organized. They invited the civil society, government, they invite journalists, they invite researchers. We met in the German embassy in Burundi. We discussed. I presented as a researcher historian. I presented the German colonial past in Burundi, and on behalf of the ambassador, she is the chargé d'affaires in the German embassy in Burundi, presented a project they have for perspective of German colonial rule. She said that they thought about the concrete things they can do about the German colonial past. they asked to the Burundian government, the former Boma.
Boma is the
Boma-
like a German colonial building, right?
That's a German colonial building, which is clear, which is in Burundi, in the political capital of Gitega. It is there, and nowadays the government in Burundi changed its administrative structures. It means the Boma served as the governor office until today, but the governor will left that office soon, and the German embassy need that buildings, and they want to transform it, to renovate in museum.
Okay.
Once the discussion about restitution arrives, it means that building will serve as a museum, and the items, once they came back in Burundi, will be kept there in that buildings. That will be a good project. Now, German embassy in Burundi talked with the government, and the government is ready to give that buildings. I think nowadays the talk continue. They already appointed a team in charge of that project
From the Burundi
from
side.
the Burundi side. I think later it will be that team to extend the project to say who will be part of the project, whether on the German side. I think it will be a joint project where Germans, Burundian will meet and discuss about the project. And the German embassy is searching for the support on the German side until today. It is an ongoing project. Yeah.
Is there a formal agreement already signed between Burundi and Germany?
Not yet, and during our workshop, last workshop in the German embassy, as different researchers met there, I remember one lawyer counseled the German embassy to formalize that project, to sign a joint agreement, and I think they are in preparation stage. Later, they will sign a joint agreement about that. It is at start until now. Yes.
Looking ahead, John, what would you want the German government to do to address the colonial legacy and the relationship today between Germany and Burundi?
Burundi, as I wrote in my thesis or my dissertation, Burundi is like a forgotten country. It's a forgotten country. If you go, if you are searching for about provenance research, if you are, I think in 2024, for example, the former German president visited Tanzania.
Yeah, November 2023.
November 2023, he visited Tanzania, but they forget Burundi. Burundi was part of German East Africa. Tanzania and Burundi and Rwanda were governed, colonized together. In all projects, Burundi is like underrepresented. If you go, I'm not totally sure, even those German GIZ, for example,
GIZ, yes.
it is not active in Burundi.
The para-statal agency for development cooperation.
I'm asking myself also.
Not at all. GIZ is not at all.
Yes,
there are no German development actors in
It is
Burundi?
not active there. And also, I'm personally, not officially, personally, I'm asking myself, for example, I'm struggling to search for a visa to come in Germany as a former colony. So we have a German embassy in Burundi. Why they don't offer a visa there To get a student visa here, I had to travel to Kenya. That is a challenge as a former, a former colony. You see, that is a big challenge. So I think as a former colony of German colonial rule, German government have to deal with, to collaborate with Burundi in different domains, and they can, for example, offer scholarship to the student to learn about history, archaeology, different field of research, so that we can continue to collaborate in that way.
What could the Burundi government do to deepen
And
the relationship?
Yeah, Burundi government, perhaps through diplomatic channel, can officially address their thinking, their perspective to the German government. They can write officially, for example, as a Burundian, as a former German colony, we need this, about restitution, about reparation, about diplomatic relations. So the Burundian government can even appoint a committee, a team of people who are in charge of that issues comparatively to other German colonies. Yes.
You mentioned this group of experts which advised Burundi government for the letter then written in 2020. They also came to visit the University of Gießen in 2024, I guess you said. Is that a formalized group? Do they meet regularly? Is it institutionalized?
It is not institutionalized. It is not official group. They had that task only to do that research, and it ends by there. Not a country, not a formal or appointed team.
These are scholars. These would be scholars located in Burundi at the university?
They took those people in a different field of research. It was included a journalist, an economist, a socioanthropologist, a political scientist, and so they took different researchers in different field of research to combine different domains, and they wrote a book. I think in the coming book, if it is not, the book will be published, the result of their research.
So that's still to come out.
Yes.
This will be published. Do
It will be published.
you know the name, the title of the book?
Yes, I know the title. It is La Loi, le rapport. In French, the title is in French. Rapport de loi de 1925. Something else. I don't remember exact title, but
okay, you can send it, and then I'll put it on the show notes for the episode here.
Yes.
How about German civil society? Do you know of any groups that take a specific interest in Burundi?
No, I don't know exactly a German association which is active in Burundi, but through the Baden-Württemberg state, there must be some association which are active in Burundi. Yes.
Thank you very much, Jean, for this very informative and comprehensive
You are welcome.
conversation.
Always, I am always ready to respond to any question you may have.
And I would hope that in the future, Germany, people, the institutions will take a larger interest in the relationship to Burundi regarding the history, but also present day and the future, the possibilities for collaboration.
Hopefully.